Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Anime Dudes and the Anime Dads podcast. I am Bjorvio. With me, we have the Anime Dad, but not just the Anime Dad. Okay, we have someone else joining, and I want everyone to please give a warm welcome to our guest tonight.
Tonight, today, tomorrow, yesterday. We have a guest today called Neil Kaplan. He's joining us now. A voice actor, you may have heard of him. He's very, very good at what he does. Very good in the anime industry and anime field. And for those watching on YouTube now, you'll be able to see him pop up shortly. But before we get into that, we just wanted to welcome everyone. Bjorvio, how are you?
I'm doing quite good today, man. Doing quite good. How are you doing?
Good, yeah, really good. I'm hoping for the rain, that's for sure. But hey, Neil, how are you?
Good. How are you all doing?
Very good,
We're
very
doing
good.
awesome.
Great to meet you. Really good to have you on the show. The listeners have been really excited to have you on as well, and we're really pumped that you'll be coming to New Zealand. You looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm excited about coming back. 2007 was a long time ago.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
I wasn't even in New Zealand at that time. Actually, I was back in South Africa. By the way, my name's Reilly, and then this is Bjorvio.
Hello.
I'm sorry. What?
It's Bjorvio, so it's like the letter B, the word your, like Y-O-U-R, and then V-O.
Not a problem. Look, there. There are countries on the planet that I'm sure Neil is like a sound effect. It's just like one of those things that sounds like what it is, like sploink or ping. So it's or I'm sure there are some countries in which Neil is a very bad word.
Well, Bjorvio's Antarctican, so yeah, it's popular in Antarctica.
Antarctican?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that what y'all are called?
He's coming at you from.
Or did you just make that up? Hold on a second. This is important for people who are watching.
That's true.
Is that how we refer to the Antarctians?
Antarctians is better than Arcticans. I'll have to look
I don't know. I don't know. I think you may have nailed it. It's wow. It's not where I was expecting to go this evening. But I'm just wondering, am I leaving with a fact, or have we just had clever banter? But because I would hate to actually meet somebody from Antarctica and go, "Oh, you're an Antarctican," and they look at me
I
like,
will look this up.
"What did you call me?"
it might be a bad word to call him. You never know. Bjorvio's going to look it up.
Or it's just like, where'd you come up with that one?
That's true.
Not that they would have that dialect.
Oh, interesting. So, according to Google, there is
Yes.
no name for people from Antarctica.
No name for them. So you are a.
We just made it up. Antarctican, we made up.
I think you should pretty much just go to Wikipedia now and make that change. Look. If one arrogant moron can change the name of an entire gulf, why not?
True. That's very true. The Gulf of America.
Which arrogant moron, but anyhow.
Yeah, anyhow.
Let's get back to the discussion of Antarcticans.
It's really good to have you on, Neil. It really is. For those listening and watching, what are some of the roles you've been in? I know there's too many to count.
Well, I started off the journey on a little show called Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, doing background characters, and basically when Rita would say "get them," I would voice the guys that would get them. That turned into Villains of the Week, which turned into Villains of the Season. For instance, Diabolico on Lightspeed Rescue, which I believe is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. Yay.
Wow.
That rolled into Hawkman from Digimon, which basically transformed into Optimus Prime on Transformers Robots in Disguise back in 2001. I was actually the second voice of Optimus Prime. Um, let's see, along the way, did shows like Wolf's Rain and The Great Pretender. There was a little show on Netflix called Voltron Legendary Defender, where I provided the voice of Emperor Zarkon. A video game that was a little large in its day called StarCraft 2. So it's Takis G. Finley on that one. Destiny 2, I'm Dominus Gall. League of Legends, and I am the Space Dragon, Aurelian Soul. Let's see. Did some stuff on Robot Chicken, voices on The Last of Us, The Last of Us 2, BioShock Infinite, Star Wars Visions, the anime Star Wars, or the anime season of Star Wars Visions on Disney Plus. That was a lot of fun. An Oscar-nominated film called Klaus. I was a background voice. I've done about a dozen, I think, audiobooks, including the young adult series I Am Number 4. Let's see.
I don't know how you remember this all. It's such an extensive list. That's incredible. And your voice is so wonderful and deep and cool. Were you born and you cried in the same voice, or when did you realize you had a cool voice?
I have no idea. Um,
At school, did your teacher
I
say,
just,
"Wow, you sound
I
amazing"?
mean, I think it's two things. I mean, one was, like being at the synagogue with my family and being next to my dad. My dad, neither my mom or my dad could sing. They loved Broadway, and we listened to a lot of cast albums and loved musical theater, but they could not sing. So my dad basically like croaked his way through um, prayers at the lowest note that humans could hit. It was like, "Ugh." And I just kind of always wanted to be. I think that was the one way I really remember wanting to be like my dad, and so I always kind of forced my voice down and didn't think too much of it. I was in jazz choir in high school eventually, but I was the only guy who could sing the bass, the baritone, the tenor. I mean, I sang all the men's parts, whatever they needed. Because I couldn't read music and I was just imitating whoever I was next to. So don't put me in 4-part harmony with 3 other people. 4-part harmony with at least 7 others so I can listen to the guy next to me. And hopefully they're the musician. So I was just always an imitator. And you combine that with a show I remember seeing as a very small child called The Copycats, and it was impersonators, impressionists. Before Saturday Night Live came around and added the makeup, these were just people in tuxedos doing impressions, and I was always impressed by that. And they had one sketch called Celebrity Sneezes, and I remember like trying to do Donald Duck's celebrity sneeze. And my brother's telling me it was terrible. And it was. But eventually, and I don't know how, because I didn't do it based on any instruction, but I later found out reading books that I had stumbled on to how Ducky Nash, the original voice of Donald Duck, actually did Donald Duck. So I had to figure it out how to do it. I'm scared. Oh, so Donald was my first, and I just kind of grew up doing theater and always thought that I was supposed to do everything, and that included dialects, and that included voices, and that included impressions. So I was, the 10-year-old kid at the talent show doing Jimmy Carter impressions, and it was precocious, but eventually it rolled into work, I guess.
It's amazing. You've got an incredible voice, and your work in anime and is amazing. It's really well renowned, and us in New Zealand, we love it a lot as well. Now, before we get into a couple more questions, I just want Bjorvio is going to ask you five quick fire questions for the fans to get
All
to
right.
know you before you come. They're going to be incriminating and weird, but that's okay. You play along, have some fun with it, and answer with the first thing that comes to your mind.
I'll do
Make
the
sense?
best I can.
Cool. Off you go, Bjorvio.
What is your second favorite color?
Yes.
Excellent. Who is somebody that you strived to
I
be
don't.
like in the voice department?
I would say Mel Blanc. I grew up listening to old radio shows, and so he kind of did everything, and so that's what I thought I was supposed to do, was to be able to do the sound of cars or monkeys or whatever else it is. So if I strove to be like anybody, it would probably be like him. Although because of how my throat is put together, uh, every now and then I tend to fall a little closer to Peter Cullen. So I've played 3 of his roles. There was Optimus Prime, and then there was Venger on the final episode of Dungeons and Dragons. And lastly, I did a little something for Disney where I provided the voice of Eeyore. And of course, as I like to say, Eeyore is simply a very depressed Optimus Prime. That's okay, Megatron. You can take over the world.
As someone
Thank
who
you.
has a Winnie the Pooh themed bathroom, I greatly appreciate that.
Oh, what a lovely place. So you can always leave a poo.
Exactly. Number 3, as someone who has done a lot of voices, do you prefer, I guess not prefer, but do you have more fun doing heroes or villains?
Yes.
Perfect. What
I
is your
mean,
favorite?
it's the character. What's written there. I mean, sure, uh, you get a lot of heroes that sit down at the keyboard of life and like play two notes, save the world, and then you get a musician when you get a villain. They're often touching all 88 keys. You know, um, you think about Colin Farrell and the genius that he has recently put on display in The Penguin, where he literally disappears into the character with the help of some amazing makeup.
Mhm.
But you watch that and he's gone, and he's got this wonderful relationship. He's got several wonderful relationships. So we get to see him be loyal and be criminal and be horrible and be wonderful. And you don't usually get to see that with heroes. When you do, they're usually anti-heroes because they're flawed. You know, it's like somebody else should be able to have a few more dimensions other than Indiana Jones.
It's very true, actually. I like that.
Also true.
And you got 2 more questions.
Okay.
All right, number 2, I guess number 4. What's a book you recommend to people?
Uh, um, well, hmm. I guess the one book I've probably recommended more than any other was in 1979. There was a little movie that came out called Animal House. And it was called National Lampoon's Animal House. And the book that I recommend is is National Lampoon's book that went along with it, which is just chock full of horrible things. Um, and lots of different art styles from lots of different artists of the day. It's bawdy. It's definitely politically incorrect at this point in life, but hopefully people that pick it up for its historic connotation, shall we say, will be able to distinguish, and still appreciate the humor. After all, we as human beings should be able to evolve and every now and then look at something from the past and still, I don't know, enjoy it, appreciate it, whatever. We don't have to necessarily replicate it or go in that same direction. Hopefully we've grown past that. But the book that's probably had the greatest influence on my life was a series of books that came out in the 60s and 70s from a little company called Mad Magazine. And the books were titled Snappy Answers to Stupid Questions. And those books probably shaped my personality more than anything else. And sometimes I get into a lot of trouble with my wife because of my devotion to these books.
You actually do seem, you got such a cool voice, but you're quick, you're witty, you're intelligent, and I'm not saying you do play parts that are quick, witty, and intelligent, but having met you now, you got a cool personality, so I'm gonna have to check those books out. Final question, Mr. B.
Final question.
All right. This one's going to go off the wall a little, but I'm here. I hope you're here for it.
Okay.
If you had to create the word for somebody who is a painter that paints with 5 paintbrushes, but all the paintbrushes are turned backwards, what is the name of that person?
Bob.
I love it.
That was perfect. That's great. Well done. Thank you for that, Bjorvio, and thank you, Neil.
Now, if he would have told me that he was a superhero, then I would have had to come up with something clever. But because it was just a name,
Bob's good. Bob's a good one.
I like
his
Bob.
parents named him.
You seem like a very artistic man. Have you ever written a novel, painted a beautiful picture?
I have
your own
certainly
story?
never painted a beautiful picture. Yeah, I pick up the little digital paint things and scribble, and every now and then go, look, it's modern art. I do try to with my Instagram account, I try to get a little visual with the world around me and not just be a slave to the idea of give me this line again. And besides, I'm not a. Some of my friends have multiple accounts, and I get kind of bummed. I follow them on multiple accounts, but it's like, wait, I just saw that on this social media page, and I just saw it over here, and now I'm seeing it over here. Come on, come on. I know I'm not paying you any money, but give me a little bang for my buck, which
Sure.
is what I try to do. If somebody follows me on Blue Sky, they're going to get something completely different than on Instagram. It's probably one of the reasons I don't post on Threads, because it's like, wait, first of all, you wouldn't let me get my individual name. So you're making me use my Instagram name, Kneecap Pics, and Pics doesn't make sense on Threads. And so it makes me uncomfortable. But they're force fed my Instagram feed. So it's like, yeah, I don't really pay attention over there. But I want to do different things. I don't want to be that guy that does one video and that's what goes up on TikTok and on Instagram. I want to do different things. And I'm not nearly as creative as some of my friends who really do some
You
really
seem,
nice stuff. So I get very happy sometimes when I do something on TikTok and it gets a lot of attention, and all it is just an old man talking to a camera. It's like, I can't do these special effects.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we do live in an age where people can do some incredible things on social media and get attention. But your page,
Oh, yeah.
your Instagram page, and your TikTok page, you've got some really really incredible posts. And on Instagram specifically, the artist is shown in what you do. We have a lot of voice actors that listen to our podcast as well, from New Zealand, from around the world. Could you take Bjorvio through a bit of a warm up that you do before voicing someone?
um my warm up is basically I wake up.
Hey, me too.
I wake up every now and then. I'll kind of go, and if I can do that, it's like okay, I'm ready. Because it just kind of means that that part of my throat is working. It's functional. There are days when that doesn't happen, and it's like, all right, I know I can't go there. You know,
Yeah.
I've got something new coming out, a new video game. I hope it's a big one. Where I'm actually living in the higher end of my range, and I'm really very happy about that. You know, I was really kind of thrilled when I we were about to start and they played the reference and I heard what they wanted me to do. It's like, yes. Yes.
Yeah, I feel that a lot of times when I started getting cast a little bit, a lot of people were looking for like the absolute highest range that I can do, or they were looking for a lot of falsetto, just really kind of depended on the day. But the
Yep.
more that I've kind of done it, it's like I've started finding ones that are more like in my lower register, and I found like as the day goes on, like if I really need to go deep or even lower than that, it's better to do that in the morning for me for some reason, and then
Okay.
as the day goes on, like no problem, I can easily do these higher ones. That's why I'm so grateful that we're able to record usually in my time at night, because I can actually do the higher voices that people are more known for.
Well, Antarctica's on a weird time schedule, so
just be careful with that. Just be careful with that.
it can damage your voice, kid it. Neil?
Well, no, it's one of those don't waste it. Don't waste it. Also pay attention because as you get older, um those tones get tighter and tighter. And plus, I don't know, Bjorvio, where you are at this stage of your career, but there are things that we can do on the internet for 5 minutes that somebody then hires us and needs us to do it for 4 hours. And
Yep.
the equipment gives out after an hour. So, and it's usually it's usually younger, newer people that don't realize that they're trying to show off their flexibility. It's like, listen to this voice that I can do. It's like, that's great. Can you do it for 20 minutes?
No.
And they sit there and it's like, just like, hey, look, the awkward one is the people that say, I do your voice. Listen. It's like, no, thanks. No, thanks. And for any of if I ever did that to Phil Hartman or to Maurice LaMarche when I was younger, I sincerely apologize. But I don't think I ever did, because nobody ever takes a moment and thinks, I'm basically walking up to a guy and say, I want to replace you. How does this sound?
Right.
Good point. Really good point.
Yes.
You do see that a lot. We've interviewed quite a few voice actors on the show. Who do you work closely with, or who do you have good friends in the voice acting industry, or do you rather keep your distance from and keep your friends outside? Yeah.
Because I would say the bulk of my work has been alone. Audiobooks. At one point in time, I was the audio description voice for Barney the dinosaur. But you work alone. Anime, you work alone. Video games, you work alone. I haven't done that many original pieces of animation. I mean, there was Voltron and the numerous seasons there. That was fantastic. And I got to work with some really wonderful people. But most everything else, I mean, I'm getting to know the cast of Naruto now much better, seeing them at conventions, than I ever did while we were recording, because there it was like, who are you passing as you're coming in and who are you passing as you're going out? A lot of times you're not passing anybody when you're going out because you're good, And I don't just mean me, I mean most of the people in that cast. So I may be coming in and the person who was before me has been gone for 40 minutes because they're good. And you can't, a wise producer, a wise scheduler doesn't schedule for good, because when you do that, then somebody's going to be off their game, or they're having allergy issues or whatever it is, and suddenly they're taking 15 minutes more, and then that backs up your whole day. So that's why you have to schedule for people being good, not really solid, I guess.
That makes sense. That's actually a very, very good tip for those out there who are scheduling, or even for voice actors, because you're right, it puts the necessary pressure on the voice actor as well.
Well, voice acting is for video games and for anime is very peculiar in that it's one of the industries in which you get financially punished for being good, or you can. Hopefully you're getting paid for the session, and so they schedule you for 4 hours and you're done in 2.5, and you're still getting paid the same, as opposed to something where you'll be getting paid hourly and they schedule you for 4 hours, but you're really good and you're done in 90 minutes, and then they try to pay you for only the 90 minutes.
True.
It's like, so I should have been messing up, or I should have been screwing around and talking to you more in between takes. So
Solid point.
what's your favorite kind of vanilla?
That's a good point as well. Things I never thought of. Now, in regards to coming to New Zealand, last time you came, where were you just in Auckland? I wasn't here.
Just in Auckland.
At the time. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
no, just in Auckland.
So you're going to Christchurch now, which is the South Island, which is some people say a different country.
Now is that a swear word down there? Oh, Christchurch.
Christchurch. No, but that should be. I'm going to start using it, actually. We're going to make up two things today: Antarcticans and Christchurch swear words.
Yeah, you better go and copyright that if somebody already hasn't done that.
I'm definitely going to. But it's a gorgeous spot. You're going to absolutely love it, and I'll see you there with a bunch of listeners too. So we're really looking forward to all of that. I'll get you to sign
I'm very
my chest.
excited about Armageddon bringing me back finally. I'm really thrilled about it.
Are you okay to sign my chest then?
If that's what you want. The most interesting body part signature story. It's not the most interesting body part that I've signed, but the most interesting story is this guy came up to me at a convention, and he says, "My mom said that if you sign my arm today, she will let me get it tattooed this afternoon." I'm like, "Really?" He said, "Yeah. So, think of a quote." And I said, "Well, I have an idea," because he was a Naruto fan. And I said, "How about I did Serious Toby?" The guy next to me, Michael Yurchak, very talented actor, was Silly Toby. Would your mom let you get him to write, "What? I don't believe it. Kidding," which is the last thing that Silly Toby said, because then I, on the other arm, will write, "It's just as I expected," which is my introductory line. And so he asked his mom, and his mom said yes. And so he got Michael to sign his right forearm, and he got me to sign his left forearm, and he comes back on Sunday with the two tattoos and puts his arms around us. And so that's like literally one of my favorite convention pictures that I've ever taken in coming up on 24 years of doing conventions.
That's amazing.
Wow.
That's actually very smart. If you weren't autistic or you didn't have a vision, you could easily write something stupid, but that's a perfect thing to have in your body forever.
I seriously try to sign everything like it's going into my collection. So yeah, somebody brings me like Boromir over there. Sorry, because I'm looking at you and thinking Aragorn. So I'm looking at him and goes, well, Boromir is close enough.
I consider that a compliment.
So there we go. There we go. You know, it's nice to be compared to Sean Vaughn, or is it Sean Bean? I don't know. Anyway, so enough of teasing people because of their names. Behind you, sir, you have one of those wonderful posters, which looks great, but people bring to you at a table to sign, and it's like, there are so many colors and patterns. Where am I supposed to sign?
Yep.
How does that work? So I'll sit there and I'll look at it for a couple of minutes, and I bring like 4 boxes of pens, different colors, different textures, different types. It's crazy. I mean, I've come to the point where I actually bring a fan with me to start blowing things dry a little bit. You know,
wow, your fans are pretty cool to even do that for you.
I take this really seriously. You know, I mean, there's so many voice actors out there that if somebody Gesundheit, if somebody is spending their hard-earned money to get me to sign something, I want to do it right. You know, like I'll have times when people will ask me to write certain quotes, and I'll sit there and go, it's not going to fit. How about if we change it to this, or we get rid of these extraneous parts of the quote, because that's not the power of the quote that you want. I can tell by what you've written the essence of what you're looking for, you know? So
I'm glad that you're the type of person who does that, because it does make a difference to the fans. And people say never meet your heroes, but if you meet someone like you who actually takes pride in what they give to their fans, it makes a big difference.
Well, hopefully, I mean, that's one of the things about having done a show like Naruto and then have it blow up years after you did the show, is you're not caught up in the moment, which when that happens, a lot of egos tend to get blown out of proportion. But when you've had a decade to sit on top of something and then have people express their appreciation for your work, you can hear it. You hear it and you appreciate it, because maybe in the last 10 years you haven't heard kind words like that. And so I take it very seriously. It's like, look, one of the things I'm most proud of, I have 190 5-star reviews on Cameo, and I try to make each Cameo different than the one before it. I try to make it personal. You know, people are working hard for their money, and they deserve something unique.
Oh, well, that's real special, and we thank you for it, and we're going to thank you for it when you're here in Armageddon Expo as well. We're really pumped. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show. You're intelligent. You've got an incredible voice, and
you don't have to sound so surprised.
I'm used to talking to myself most of the day, no. The intelligence level's low.
You're practically well spoken. It's as if you're almost civilized.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and you know, basically, you come across as a human, which is amazing in and of itself.
You come across as a normal, actual person. It's so weird. No, that makes sense. Very good. But to take us out, I've finished the podcast. Could you please just tell us where the listeners can find you, firstly, other than your physical address? You don't have to give that out to people, but where they can find you online, and then finish off with a quote, your favorite quote, if you could.
My favorite quote is probably somewhat adult. May I say something slightly adultish?
Go for it.
Okay, so the people can find me on YouTube at Neil Kaplan, I believe. I believe there, if you look for Kneecap Tube, because I'm going to start posting more stuff there in case of any shenanigans with TikTok. But I do live stuff on TikTok. I do short videos on TikTok, which is basically just an old guy doing voices. And you can find me on Blue Sky. Look for Kneecap. And when I say Kneecap, it's like Neil Kaplan minus letters. So it's Nekap, Kneecap.
They're going to get a bunch of
If you want to get
physio videos.
something like that. Something like that. And of course, if you want to get a personalized video right now, my price is cut in half because I'm fundraising for the National Association of Voice Actors, and basically everything that is coming in. So I'm charging $39 US, and 37 of those, 37 and change, goes to Los Angeles firestorm relief, for other voice actors in Los Angeles who have been affected, whose booths have been destroyed, whose equipment has been lost in the fire, who've lost work and just need some help. So if you are thinking about donating to fire relief, why not go to Cameo, cameo.com/NEKAP kneecap, and get a little video so you'll have something. And most importantly, you'll have something wonderful that won't take up room on your shelf or your wall and make your spouse angry at you saying, "You got something else?"
Very true.
You sound just like
Very
her.
true.
That's a very cool thing to do, actually.
So my favorite quote is, I came up with this. We'll do the family-friendly one. Somebody gave it to me a long time ago, and I think it's very appropriate for voiceover. The phrase is, "It's simple. It ain't easy." Just
like
because
that.
something is simple to understand doesn't mean that it's easy to put into effect. It's simple.
Very true.
It ain't easy. Like being a good person. It's simple, but it ain't easy.
True.
And then the other was something I came up with when I was waiting tables. And that is very simply, "Please, sir, I'm not a slut. I'm a whore."
Yes, that's my new text tone. That's amazing. Well, thank you, Neil. You're incredible at what you do. We love having you on, and I'm not surprised by that.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to seeing you at Armageddon Expo, and this episode will be released in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, really
We'll see you in April.
Yes, really excited, Neil. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Take it easy.
Aragorn, Boromir, take care.